Hello students, in this video I will go through exercise U5A05A where I will be applying concepts related to 30, 60, 90 and 45, 45, 90 triangles to solve for sides. So in this video I will go through only the even questions because I will be assigning questions that are the odd questions out of this assignment. Let's take a look. Okay, so for the exercise, it says to find the missing side lengths, leave your answers as radicals in simplest form. Alright, so looking at this first triangle, question number 2, I immediately see that I have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Even though the 60 degrees is not directly written, I can tell because I'm dealing with a right triangle and one angle, 30 degrees, is given to me, so therefore the third angle must be 60 degrees. Recognizing this, I also recognize from the lesson, by applying basic concepts of Pythagorean theorem, I can then generate the following idea, that this is 1, 2, and square root of 3. All 30, 60, 90 triangles will have proportions of 1, 2, radical 3. So looking at this right now, I have this side right here that's given, 3 radical 6 over 4, and I'm asked to find out what the hypotenuse is. So in other words, okay, what I'm given right now is I'm given this side, which is 3 radical 6 over 4, and I need to find out what these side lengths are. Whoops. So what am I doing exactly? So I need to figure out, like, what proportion or what numbers did I multiply to radical 3 to end up with this number here. Okay, so what is that? So I notice that 3 radical 6 over 4 is equivalent to 3 radical 2 times radical 3 over 4. So that's what I multiplied. So in other words, this proportion, okay, is what I'm going to have to multiply to each one of, to the other two sides. So again, one more time, 3 radical 2 over 4 is the proportion, so I'm going to have to multiply 1 by 3 radical 2 over 4. I'm going to have to multiply 2 by 3 radical 2 over 4, giving me 3 radical 2 over 2. And then the last side, which, you know, corresponds with radical 3, is 3 radical 6 over 4, right? So that's the proportion here. So what is x, what is y? X is 3 radical 2 over 2, and y is 3 radical 2 over 4. Let's take a look at the next guy. Alright, so this angle over here is 30 degrees, and again, the sides are 1, 2, radical 3. Alright, so again, I'm looking at y, I'm looking at x, and I'm looking at 2 radical 3. What am I multiplying to radical 3 to get 2 radical 3? I'm multiplying by 2. So that means these proportions over here, 1 to 2, will also need to be multiplied by a factor of 2. So y will be 2, and x will be 4. Let's take a look at the next one. So this is a 45, 45, 90, and the ratios of sides of 45, 45, 90 is 1, 1, radical 2, where radical 2 is the hypotenuse. So I have x, and then I have 9 radical 2 over 2, and y. So looking at this, what will y equal to? Y must equal to 9 radical 2 over 2. Another way of explaining this is an isosceles right triangle. So any isosceles triangle, the two legs are going to be the same. So y is equal to 9 radical 2 over 2. Now what exactly is x? What am I multiplying 1 by to get 9 radical 2 over 2? I'm multiplying 1 by 9 radical 2 over 2. So therefore, x will equal to 9 radical 2 over 2 times radical 2. And what will that be? That will turn into 9. So x is equal to 9. Very similar. So y is equal to 3 radical 2 over 2. And since I'm dealing with a 1, 1 radical 2 triangle, right, or 45, 45, 90 triangle, I'm multiplying all the sides by 3 radical 2 over 2. So x will equal to 3 radical 2 over 2 times radical 2, which will equal to 3. So again, y is equal to 3 radical 2 over 2, and x is equal to 3. Okay, things are getting a little more interesting. Alright, so I have 45. This is also 45. This is also 45. So if this side is 9, this side will also equal to 9. And if that's 9, this is 9 radical 2. One more time, because a 45, 45, 90 has this proportion. So it's 9, 9, 9 radical 2. If this side is 9 radical 2, then this side is also 9 radical 2. So I have 9 radical 2, 9 radical 2, and what will the third side be? 9 radical 2 times radical 2. So that would be 18, because 9 radical 2 times radical 2 is 9 times 2, which is 18. So x is equal to 18, and y is equal to, was there a y in this problem? There wasn't a y. Okay, so it's just x. So it's x is equal to 18. Okay. So very similar. So here I have 45, 45, 90. Okay, this is 45. So that means this is 10. This side over here must be 10 radical 2. One more time. 1, 1 radical 2. The legs are 10, 10, 10 radical, and then the hypotenuse must be 10 radical 2. The other leg must be 10 radical 2. So I'm dealing with 10 radical 2, 10 radical 2, and 10 radical 2 times radical 2. Whoops. So I'm dealing with 20. X must equal to 20. Alright. Number 14. So this is 30. This is 30. So in a 30, 60, 90 triangle, I'm dealing with 1, 2, radical 3, where 2 here is the hypotenuse. Okay? So I have 8 radical 3 as the hypotenuse. And now I got to find the other two lengths. So what am I multiplying? So what am I multiplying? I'm going to call x, okay? What am I multiplying 2 by to get 8 radical 3? I'm multiplying x by 4, because if I divide both sides by 2, I get 4 radical 3. So what would that imply about the other sides? The side, so the side that's opposite of 30 will be 4 radical 3. The side opposite of 60 will be 4 radical 3 times radical 3. So opposite of 60 degrees, that would be 12. Opposite of 30 degrees would be 4 radical 3. And there I go again, because now I'm now in the smaller triangle, I have 4 radical 3, and then I have x is opposite of, I miswrote, sorry, my apologies. So 4 radical 3 is the middle number, because that's the hypotenuse, and x corresponds with the radical 3, and over here, this side over here corresponds with 1, right? So what am I multiplying? What am I multiplying? So let's use a different letter, okay? So what am I multiplying n, let's say 2n, by to get 4 radical 3. N must therefore equal to 2 radical 3. So that's the common factor that I'm multiplying with the other numbers. So this is 2 radical 3, and then the last number is 2 radical 3 times radical 3, which is 6. So x will equal to 6. Okay, so over here, this is 30 degrees, this is 30 degrees, so 60 degrees is, or 5 radical 6 is opposite of 60 degrees, so if I have 1, 2, radical 3, the 5 radical 6 corresponds with the radical 3. I need to figure out what factor am I multiplying radical 3 by to get 5 radical 6. So n radical 3 is equal to 5 radical 6. What am I multiplying? I'm multiplying, if I divide both sides by radical 3, I end up with 5 radical 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2, right? So it's 5 radical 2. So both 1 and 2, what am I multiplying 1 and 2 by? 5 radical 2 and 10 radical 2, multiplying by 5 radical 2's apiece. So that means this will be 5 radical 2, and this will be 10 radical 2. So now 10 radical 2 corresponds with radical 3. And again, I need to figure out what is x, and I want to call this side over here y, right? So again, I'm going to try to accomplish this in the same way. So what am I multiplying radical 3 by to get 10 radical 2? So if I divide both sides by radical 3, I end up with 10 radical 2/3. And there's this concept of rationalizing, because we cannot leave the denominator with a radical. I'm going to multiply both top and bottom by radical 3. And if I do that, I'll end up with 10 radical 6 over 3. So that means x will equal to 10 radical 6 over 3, and y will equal to 20 radical 6 over 3. Okay? Alright, moving on, question 18. So this is 30 degrees, this is 45. Since I'm dealing with an isosceles right triangle on the lower portion of this diagram here, this will be 5 radical 6. And again, I'm dealing with a 1, 1, radical 2, right? 45, 45, 90 triangle. So what am I multiplying the last number by? If it's 5 radical 6, 5 radical 6, I'm multiplying the last number by 5 radical 6 to get 5 radical 12. So this is 5 radical 12. Okay, so the next triangle, I have 1, 2, radical 3. The 5 radical 12 corresponds with the radical 3. So this is 5 radical 12 here, right? And x corresponds with the 1, and we'll call this guy y, okay? So what am I multiplying radical 3 by? Let's call n the factor. What am I multiplying radical 3 by to get 5 radical 12? If I divide both sides by radical 3, I will end up with 5 radical 4, or simply 10. Okay, I'll be left with 10. So that means x must be 10, and y must be 20. Because I'm multiplying 1 by n and 2 by n. So x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 20. Alright, next, or last rather, this is 45. So here I have 8 radical 6. So it's 1 radical 2. Again, the 8 radical 6 corresponds with the radical 2. So I need to figure out what is the factor that I'm multiplying to radical 2 to end up with 8 radical 6. If I divide both sides by radical 2, I end up with 8 radical 3. So that means I'm multiplying each of the 1's by 8 radical 3. So these are 8 radical 3, 8 radical 3. So the second triangle there, I'm dealing with 30, 60, 90, so it's 1, 2, radical 3. The 8 radical 3, what does that correspond with? That corresponds with the radical 3 side there, right? So what am I multiplying to get 8 radical 3? I'm multiplying by 8. If I divide both sides by radical 3, I'll end up with n equal to 8. So what will be the other two sides? It'll be 8 and 16. So what is the value of x? X is equal to 16. There you go. You know what? I'll just go through the other ones as well, just because this is confusing. Okay, so I'll do number 1 as well. Number 1, let me see here. This will, so this is 1, 2, radical 3. So I have this 5 is opposite of 30 degrees, so that means this is 5, and x is opposite of the side with a portion of 2, and radical 3 is y. So what will x equal to? X must equal to 10, and y must equal to 5 radical 3. This is 30 degrees, and I need to find out what a and b is. So again, 1, 2, radical 3. 8 radical 3 is over here. A corresponds with the 2, and b corresponds with the 1. So what exactly? So n radical 3 is equal to 8 radical 3. What is the factor that I'm multiplying radical 3 by? N will equal to 8. So that means b will equal to 8, and a will equal to 16. Next, this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Y is equal to 3 radical 2. 45, 45, 90. This is an isosceles triangle. So again, I'm dealing 1, 1, radical 2. So I have 3 radical 2, 3 radical 2. What will the third side be? It will be 3 radical 2 times radical 2, which is 6. Alright, so here, this is 45. So that means 1, 1, radical 2. 4 corresponds with the radical 2. So what am I multiplying n radical 2 by to get 4? So if I divide both sides by radical 2, I'll end up with 4 over radical 2. And remember, we've got to rationalize. We have to multiply the numerator and denominator by radical 2. And we'll end up with 2 radical 2. That's the factor. So that means I'm multiplying every number here by 2 radical 2 to end up with the new triangle, right? So that means x is equal to 2 radical 2, and y is equal to 2 radical 2. Let's do this again. 45. So this is 45. And I'm dealing with a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So the 7 corresponds with the radical 2. I need to figure out what the other sides are. So n radical 2 is equal to 7. Divide both sides by radical 2. N is equal to 7 over radical 2. Or this is 7 radical 2 over 2. This is the factor that I'm multiplying. So this guy right here is 7 radical 2 over 2. And this guy is 7 radical 2 over 2. Again, 7 radical 2 over 2, 7 radical 2 over 2. Okay, and then I got to repeat that again. This time, 7 radical 2 over 2 is the hypotenuse. I got to figure out what the other 2 legs are. So n radical 2 is equal to 7 radical 2 over 2. So what would n equal to? It would be 7 halves. These will be 7 halves apiece. So x is equal to 7 halves. We apply that again. This is 45. This is 45. So if I have, again, 1, 1, 5 radical 2. I'm sorry, not 1, 1. What am I saying? So n, right? So it's 1, 1 radical 2. I need to find out what n is. N radical 2 is equal to 5 radical 2. N is equal to 5. So I'm multiplying each of the side by 5. So this is going to be 5, and this is going to be 5. So now I'm dealing with the second triangle. The hypotenuse this time is 5. And I need to figure out what the new sides are. So m radical 2 is equal to 5. M will equal to 5 radical 2 over 2. So the x will equal to 5 radical 2 over 2. Number 13. This is 30. This is 30. So if this is 9, I immediately can tell that the hypotenuse will be 18, right? And again, how did I do that so quickly? That's because I understand I have 1, 2, radical 3. Side 9, side length of 9 is opposite of 30, so that's right here. So immediately I can tell I need to multiply every number here by 9. So I end up with 18 and 9 radical 3. So immediately I know that this hypotenuse will be 18, and this leg over here is 9 radical 3. Alright, so, and then the next one is I have 18 something and something, right? And again, it corresponds with 1, 2, radical 3. So what am I multiplying side length of 2 by? By 18, I get 36, and the last side is 36 radical 3. So x is equal to 36 radical 3. The hypotenuse is 36, but x is 36 radical 3, that's the other leg. Alright. So this is 30, this is 30. Since I know that this is 10, this will be 20, and this will be 10 radical 3. Again, how did I do that so quickly? That's because I understand that the 30, 60, 90 triangle, the 10 corresponds with the side opposite of 30 degrees. The hypotenuse will be the longest side of the triangle that corresponds with 2. So I'm multiplying 1 by 10 and 2 by 10. And then the last number is 10 radical 3. 10 radical 3 because I'm multiplying radical 3 by 10. So going by the same logic again, since I know 10 radical 3 to be the hypotenuse, now I got to figure out the other sides. Okay? So 10 radical, so 2n is equal to 10 radical 3. Got to figure out what n is. N is equal to 5 radical 3. So this side here is 5 radical 3. What will the last side be, just for the heck of it? It will be 5 radical 3 times radical 3. Or in other words, 15. So this side is 15, and x is equal to 5 radical 3. Okay, moving on. This is 30 degrees. This is 45 degrees. So if this side here is 5, that corresponds with the radical 3. 1, 2, radical 3. I need to figure out what n is. N radical 3 is equal to 5. Therefore, n is equal to 5 divided by radical 3. I want to rationalize. This is 5 radical 3 over 3. So that means this side here is 5 radical 3 over 3. And this side over here is 10 radical 3 over 3. Okay? And I got to figure out what x is. So then I have 1, 1, radical 2. 5 radical 3 over 3 corresponds with the radical 2. Then I got to figure out what those lengths are. So again, n radical 2, I got to figure out what the proportion is. N radical 2 is equal to 5 radical 3 over 3. Divide both sides by radical 2, n is equal to 5 radical 3 over 3 radical 2. I'm going to rationalize. I'm going to multiply both top and bottom by radical 2. I end up with 5 radical 6 over 6. So x will equal to 5 radical 6 over 6. This is 5 radical 6 over 6. 5 radical 6 over 6. Alright, this is 30, this is 45. So this is 9 radical 6. So 9 radical 6, 9 radical 6. What am I going to multiply to get the hypotenuse? I'm going to multiply by radical 2. So it's going to be 9 radical 12. But radical 12 can be reduced to be 18 radical 3. So this will be 18 radical 3. Okay, and since 18 radical 3 corresponds with the hypotenuse, so 18 radical 3 is the hypotenuse. I now got to figure out what x and y is, okay? So 2n is equal to 18 radical 3. N will equal to 9 radical 3. So that means this guy here is 9 radical 3. And this guy over here will be 9 times radical 3 times radical 3. Hypotenuse will be 27. So what will x equal to? Not hypotenuse, what am I saying? The leg will be 27. So x will equal to 9 radical 3. And the other leg will be 27. There you go.